Hi lovely and darling viewers, it's Jen here at chekherjoy. This year I am doing another Vote Coasters and I'm going to record me ranking all my coasters. So Vote Coasters is this program started by CoasterBot and everybody can vote on their favorite coasters in the month of November. I don't know the exact end date for when voting stops, so do it sooner than later guys. Last year was like the first weekend of December when they finally stopped it. But they just rank everybody's votes, and it kind of takes into account how many coasters you voted for, and ranks them against how many other coasters and where they rank in your list, like assigns points. It's math. But if you're interested in that, all of that's here at coasterbot.com/votecoasters. Here is my list. I'm starting off from last year's list. Again, I really, really love laterals and arrows and mine rides, so those are going to rank really high for me. And I'm not the biggest fan of like super intense rides. And airtime's fun when it's done correctly, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, it's airtime. I have definitely different opinions than major coaster enthusiasts. So last year, my favorite coaster was Adventure Express, followed by Gemini. I also got 5 arrows in my top 5. 10, I mean. So here's the entire list. I'll also post the link to last year's list where you can go through and watch how I came to each of these decisions. For fun. It is over an hour long though, so this year I'm going to break this up into 4 videos because last year that was over an hour on its own, and that was like 50 coasters and I've got over 100 coasters to add. So first up, we're doing a trip that my brother and I did actually twice along the East Coast. We hit Six Flags Great Adventure and King's Dominion during their holiday events, but then did it again in April because all the coasters weren't open during December. So in April, we did Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey, King's Dominion in Virginia, and Busch Williamsburg. I'll also have a separate video for our trip when we went to Orlando, and we hit SeaWorld Orlando, Universal Studios, and Islands of Adventure, and the fun spots. To me in Orlando. And then we just went to California last month and hit Six Flags Magic Mountain, Knott's Berry Farm, Disneyland, the Santa Monica Pier, and then went and hit Vegas on the way back, did a layover on purpose so we could go to the Adventure Dome and ride Big Apple Coaster. There's also going to be a 4th video where I do all my Midwestern coasters, which were a lot of like single day trips or weekend trips. So I picked up my last coasters at Cedar Point, Kings Island. Also went to Kennywood, Dorney Park, Knoebels, Darien Lake in New York, and then a bunch of like smaller coasters. All of those will be linked as I film them, and they're all going to be chapterized by which parks they are. So let's start with Six Flags Great Adventure. So here we are at Six Flags Great Adventure. I'm pulling up Batman because I don't know which order I wrote these in first. I started that sometime, I think in April is when I started an actual list. But this is a Batman clone. It's similar to the one at Great America, which I did the year before. And I stuck it here. So I'm going to stick this Batman below the original Batman. The original Batman's set for its surroundings. It has really good theming for that ride. These are both B&Ms, by the way. They're built in the 90s. This one was 93. They both invert, so you hang below the track, and they both do inversions. 5 of them, roughly, they're the same stats as X-Treme Clone. So, Batman, super fun. Next up, I've got Dark Knight. I also rode the other one of these at Great America, so these are clones of each other. Dark Knight. These are Mack Wild Mice. This one was built in 2008. They're both themed to Batman, the Dark Knight movie. Super fun. And actually the one at Great America ended up being my 50th coaster once I went back and like made the actual spreadsheet. I remember we rope dropped that one, so I know that was the first coaster we did that park, so that was 50. But they're roughly the same, so I'm just gonna rank them together and do this fun combine. They have the same stats, the same experience basically. Harley Quinn Crazy Train is next. This is 1999. It's a Zir. It's a double figure 8 coaster. Doesn't get very fast. It's only 22 miles per hour and 26 feet tall. It's a kiddie coaster. I'm gonna rank this by my other kiddie coasters. Well, I mean it's a family coaster, but oh, I did leave this one on here. Oops. I ranked these. Sorry. So I've got it down here by Comet at Waldemere, Viper, Tornado, Ravine Flyer 3. Yeah, no, that's probably fair. put it a bit below. You know, it's smooth. We're gonna put it below the wild mouse. There we go. Putting it right below Flight of Fear at Kings Island. So lower half. It was fun. It just wasn't like a standout coaster. Also did Jersey Devil coaster, 2001. It's an RMC Raptor, so it has one rail and you're in a single line of seats. Super interesting. It's 130 feet tall, 58 miles per hour, and does 3 inversions. It was fun, but it wasn't like a standout, so it's still down here by Harley Quinn. Smooth though. Comet and Viper were both a little bit rough for winning coasters. I don't know. Jersey Devil or Harley Quinn? Jersey Devil slightly more interesting, but not as much fun as Flight of Fear. Cool space thing. Also family coaster, we have Skull Mountain 1996. This is an Intamin. It's indoor coaster, has a really cool rock facade that makes it look like a skull. It's 40 feet tall, drops 37 feet, 35 miles per hour. It's not terribly exciting. It has a really good drop in the back row, if you can manage that. That had some good airtime. But overall, kiddie coaster. I liked it, but like when we went back in April, I didn't like it enough that I need to like ride it again. Iron Dragon. Little Dipper so high. Little Dipper down here by Lake. Yeah. I don't know why I had that so high. Must have really loved it, but in hindsight, I'm not remembering it. It's above you. There you go. List mostly works. Asa Road Joker. This is 2016. It's by SNS. It's a 40 free spin, so it just does this like wavy line, but the seats flip the entire time you're doing it. It's an interesting sensation. It's not one of my favorites though. This one's 120 feet tall, 38 miles per hour. I'm gonna rank it towards the bottom. 61. Okay, so I originally had this down at 61 because I did rank these last year. I'm gonna stick it down here. Shivering Tenders hurt me. Zach Zoomers I thought wasn't going to complete the course. Whizzer gave me a panic attack in that line, and Vertigo gave me a lot of headbanging. Steel Dragon made me super nauseous. Demon got me stuck. I'm gonna stick it. You know, that's not terrible. I'll give you the advantage of you're an adult coaster. I'm gonna put by the one mouse. You're an adult coaster that disappointed me. There you go. Okay, Nitro 2001 B&M Hypercoaster, 230 feet tall, 215 feet foot drop, gets to 80 miles per hour. Super fun. Lots of airtime, but it does the airtime so well. And is my favorite ride at this park. It goes up here. The question is, where does it go? Let's see. We'll just default. When I ranked this in December, I ranked it at 13, right above Trailblazer. So I'm gonna stick with that ranking and not think too much. Yeah. Maybe it's slightly more fun. Now that I got more rides on it, it might be more fun than Lightning Racer. Now, Lightning Racer has good laterals. Sorry, Nitro, you're not well rounded out with your laterals. You've got a good turnaround, but still top 20 at the moment. In April, we picked up the Kitty Credit Little Devil Coaster. It's credited as a 2001 Zamperla, but it's a retheme of Roadrunner Railway, I think, from 1999. I don't know if it's the exact same coaster or they just were like the same layout. I was trying to use RCDB to get facts, and this one was confusing. But basically, it's a little tiny kiddie coaster. It gets to 13 feet tall. The track's only 262 feet long. Like, it's really a little kiddie coaster. So all the way down here, it did it really well. It's a really good kiddie coaster, but it's just a kiddie coaster. So we're gonna stick it down by Woodstock Express at Michigan's Adventure, which was a little more exciting. I like the train thing. Sorry, Little Devil. And then I rode Runaway Mine Train. This is 1974. It's an Aero mine train, which I super love. 60 feet tall, gets to 30 miles per hour. It's really pretty. It's over by El Toro. It's got a nice lake. But it's my least favorite Aero mine train. It was really rough. Like, I walked up to there and saw one kid had gotten off the coaster and had a nosebleed, and then like the train I was on when we came back, like another kid got injured riding this coaster. It needs better restraints, guys. Or you need to check the restraints better. Something was up with Runaway Mine Train, plus it being a little bit rough. The question is, I think I like it more than the corkscrews. Oh, I skipped Green Lantern, sorry. That's a 2001. It's a B&M stand-up coaster. It's actually a mirror of what Mantis was at Cedar Point, which I chickened out on riding when I was younger. So I was super excited to ride Green Lantern. It gets 254 feet tall, 63 miles per hour. It does 5 inversions. It actually was surprising because I thought the standing up part was going to be what bothered me, but it's actually the giant, huge horse collars that go right up against your ear. So I was getting head banging. I did rank this in December, and it was down here around 44. So I also rode Superman Ultimate Flight. This opened in 2003. It's a B&M. It's a flying coaster, which means that you the seat shifts so that you go up and you're like flat. So you're flying like Superman, hence the Superman Ultimate Flight theme. I think it's 206 feet tall, does 51 miles per hour, and has 2 inversions. I don't really love flying coasters though, because I don't like that sensation of being on my stomach and having like all my weight on my stomach. Down here by the ones I didn't really enjoy, do I like it more or less than Joker? I think Joker was better. We'll come back. Right below Joker. And that leaves us with El Toro. This one is 2006 Intamin. It's a wooden coaster. It's actually a prefab. It has 181 feet tall with a 176-foot drop. It reaches 70 miles per hour. I had a similar problem with Shivering Timbers where I am fat and the restraints were hitting me in the stomach and knocking the wind out of me every time we hit airtime. But it didn't have as many air times, and it had good laterals too, so I'll give it a little bit. Still not like my go-to, like, oh man, we need to go ride El Toro and like ride it over and over again. But I did ride it like I think 2 or 3 times. I rode it more than once for sure. It has massive redeeming qualities, but also in the end was painful. Moving on to King's Dominion. Kings Island's my favorite park, so I was excited to go to King's Dominion and be like, yes, they're sister parks. They have a lot of similar rides. It also has, most importantly, Old Jaga Lake ride and Dominator. So Jaga Lake was my former home park when I was a kid. We would go about once a year, and I would see Dominator, and it just scared me. So I was excited to like be an adult and be like, yes, I got one of my favorite versions. I'm gonna go do Dominator. So like I said, it opened at Jaga Lake in 2000 as Batman Night Flight. It got moved to King's Dominion in 2008. It had already been renamed to Dominator when Cedar Fair took over Jaga Lake. But this is a B&M floorless, 157 feet tall, 148-foot drop, reaches 65 miles per hour, does 5 inversions. So I ended up sticking it, because this is one of the ones I read in December, I hadn't ranked last year, down around 30. But I put it above the corkscrews, but above American Eagle. So now Runaway Mine Train is there. Do I like it more than Runaway Mine Train? Yes, I do. American, that seems. So yeah, Dominator. So excited to ride Dominator. Very solid coaster. And the other coaster that was open during the winter was Twisted Timbers. Down here, this is an RMC. It was a conversion of Hurler. So Twisted Timbers opened in 2018. It's wood with steel track. RMC got their hands onto it. They added 3 inversions. It's 111 feet tall, 54 miles per hour. It's pretty, and actually the right mix of like fun twisty bits, and it's not super intense. Like it has some intensity to it. So I had it around 24 last time, which puts it by Maverick, and Laugh Track. Okay, Twisted Timbers is more exciting than Cedar Creek. Laugh Track is really, really fun though. Uh, my favorite RMC is still only a 23. Sorry, I swear I'm a Thuzy, just not an intense one. So next up I have Tim Billy. This is a 2022 coaster, so we wrote it pretty close to opening. It's by SNS. It's another 40 free spin. It's 112 feet tall and reaches 34 miles per hour. It has another one of those wavy designs where your seats flip as you do it, but it's not as intense as Joker, so I really loved it more than Joker. Especially since we did them in like the same weekend, and I was like, yeah, I can compare these really well. So more exciting than the Wild Mouse. Harley Quinn or Free Spin? Gonna give it to Harley Quinn though. So Timberlee's down there at 51 right now. Next up I have Apple's Apple. That was the next coaster we went. We did Timberlee because it was like opening month and we're like, we need to like rope drop this. We don't have a huge line. Then we went to the Wild Mouse, which has like low capacity, so trying to get the Wild Mouse out of the way. So that one opened in 2002. It's by Mack Rides. It's a Wild Mouse. Reaches 35 miles per hour. It has a really nice drop at the beginning and then fun laterals. So a good combination of both airtime and laterals for Wild Mouse. Where are my other Wild Mice? Let's go back up to Laugh Track. One more over here. Laugh Track has a better overall like theme. I love the theming on Laugh Track so much. Timbers was the best of the park. Creek and Apple's Apple. Cedar Creek's a little bit better. Maverick's better. We're down here by Blue Streak and the Mine Trains. Blue Streak can give amazing rides. It can also give like very blah rides. But I only rode Apple's Apple I think once, so I don't know. Alright, then we went and found Grizzly. I think we rode Twisted Timbers while we were over there. But then we went and found Grizzly. Luckily my brother had been in the parks. He knew where the entrance was, which is hidden behind a gift shop. This one opened in 1982. It's credited as Taft Attractions. It's based off the Coney Island Wildcat from Ohio, which was a PTC coaster. This one is rough. Really, really rough. I love its theming. It's really interesting. I know it's getting like some work done this year and it needs it. But the time we rode it, I was like, worried I was gonna chip a tooth. It was so rough. But I also rode it twice. I was like, we'll let it warm up. Then we went back to it later in the day because my brother didn't think it was bad when he had ridden it the year before. And it was just like, oh, this is still rough. So down here, I did painful and boring coasters. All of these were one and done. So it's gotta be above those bottom three. Grizzly, I'm really hoping that this overhaul for you, like you need some retracking, and I hope you get it. Really deserve it, Grizzly. You have potential, but the rides I had were not good, and that's what we're basing this off of. Alright, next up is Racer 75. I only rode one side, but I don't really know whether it was north or south, so I'm just gonna grab north and go with that. This is 1975 PTC wooden racing coaster. Gets to 56 miles per hour, 85 feet tall, 3,368 feet long on each side. It's similar to Kings Island's Racer, except they're closer together at the turnarounds. But Kings Island's Racer got retracking, and it's awesome. And this one is rough. And having ridden both, especially the amount of times I've ridden Racer at Kings Island, like I know this could be amazing if you guys put the work into it. Kings Island's Racer is up here at 15, and this one's down. Rough coasters, that could be better. I'm gonna put you below Superman Ultimate. Uncomfortable but smooth. I hope they give Racer its work next. Then we have Backlog Stunt Coaster. This is a clone of the one at Kings Island. Opened in 2006. It's by Premier. Love that opening helix, but Kings Island has all their theming working. So Backlot at Kings Island is up here at number 7. This one's still a really solid ride, just not as good. So we're definitely gonna rank them 1, 2. Ruins Trail, Twisted Timbers being my favorite this park. I forget about this being a coaster at Kings Dominion because it's like the same as Kings Island. Like you wouldn't go to Kings Dominion to ride a Backlot Stunt Coaster when Kings Island is 5 hours closer. Also, Woodstock Express is a clone of Kings Island's 1974 PTC wooden coaster. It actually opened before King's Dominion because it was part of like the safari next door. 35 feet tall, 35 miles per hour. Them really close to each other. I don't know. Maybe just combine them. But they're really, really good kiddie rides. Also rode Anaconda. This is the 1991 era looper. 128 feet tall, 50 miles per hour, has 4 inversions. It's over a lake. Really pretty. It's a bit rough and janky, but that's an aerial looper for you. Okay, so down here we've got Corkscrew, Super Duper Looper. I like Dominator better though, so right above Runaway Mine Train. Then we have Flight of Fear at King's Dominion. It's also a clone of King's Islands. Flight of Fear here. They're the same coaster. They're slightly different theming, but we're gonna just rank them both the same. Bam. And then Reptilian is a bobsled coaster, which terrified me, the fact that it's not attached to the track. But I did ride it, and it's basically just one giant slide or roller skate down the hill, for the most part. It opened in 1988 as Avalanche. It is by Mack Rides, bobsled type coaster, gets to 41 miles per hour. Not the biggest fan of these, so it's gonna go down here by Joker, which I wasn't a big fan of, but like it's smooth and acceptable. I think I would rather ride Tornado and Viper. Do I hate it enough to rank it below Kitty Coasters? It will rank it below Demon and Six Flags Great America. They both have redeeming qualities, but they're still not awesome. And better than the ones that were like actually painful. So did not ride Great Pumpkin Coaster because it was the really small children's ride. Can't ride it without a kid. I was too scared to ride Intimidator 305. That's a coaster for people like gray out and blackout on, so that was not going to be my first Giga. And then only one side of Racer was open. Which brings us to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Such a pretty park. We ended up, well, we tried to rope drop Pantheon, but the line was already huge. Our brother's like, no, we'll come back and ride it later. So instead we went and rode Tempesto first. This is a 2015 Premier Ride Skyrocket 2 model. Basically makes a loop, but like a vertical loop, and it does multi-passes to get over the loop. It's a really interesting layout. It was different from anything else I've ridden, at least. It's 150 feet tall, 62 miles per hour. It has one inversion, like an inline twist, but it also has a non-inverting loop. So you go up to the top, but then the coaster tracks twist, so you're actually on top of the loop when you get there. So it's super interesting and fun, and I like it. It's like a Wild Mouse, if you made the Wild Mouse vertical. So I like Wild Mouse, guys. Probably like Apple's Apple better. Mine Train's fun. Super Duper Looper. I'm gonna put it above the Corkscrews. And above Runaway Mine Train. I did like it Tempesto, but it's like middle. It's not like stand out right home about. Okay, Apollo's Chariot, 1999 B&M Hypercoaster. 170 feet tall, but has a 210-foot drop. Reaches 73 miles per hour. Super pretty. Runs along like a river. Been through the woods, but you're basically flying over all of that, and it's amazing. So over by Nitro, because they're like B&M Hypers, they're similar. Nitro's better. It goes a little bit faster. I'm gonna put it below Trailblazer. I really do love it. I love Air Mine Trains, guys. And then another B&M, Alpengeist. This is an invert, so like Batman, Banshee, Raptor. This one's 1997. This is 195 feet tall, the one that could have been a hyper if they just pushed it a little further. 57 miles per hour into 6 inversions. So they're like Batman the Rides and Raptor better, but Alpengeist is really solid. So right there with the others. Laugh track is so much fun though. Also rode Invadar. This is 2017 by Great Coasters International. It's a wooden coaster. It's only up to 74 feet tall and 48 miles per hour, but it's only 2,118 feet of track. Like, it's really short. It's like Mystic Timbers, but like if you cut that coaster in half. For Twisted Timbers works out well, cutting Steel Vengeance in half, but Mystic is so good. That Invader is going to be down here, guys. Better than Cedar Creek. Isn't high capacity though, which is definitely going to hurt it. Low capacity, so the lines are huge. Maybe I do put it below Twisted Timbers. Invader, I wish they were longer and closer to my house. Okay, then we have Griffin. This was my first dive coaster. It opened in 2007. It's B&M floorless. The dive part means that you go to the top of a hill and you kind of hang over it, and you sit there for like a second, and then it drops you into a pretty close to vertical drop. This one's 205 feet tall, 71 miles per hour, and it actually does 2 inversions. I rode it once and I rode it in the back row, but actually it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. So I'm gonna rank it over here by these guys. I like Elfin Case better. Maverick also has like a beyond vertical drop, and they're not my favorite. As somebody who's afraid of heights, like being at Then I then I had the fun trip of trying to make Loch Ness my 100th coaster. So we were here trying to go between these 3 coasters, hoping one of them opens. Well, actually, Grover's was open, but had a huge line of like kids, and I'm like, it's a kiddie coaster. I'd rather ride one of the other 2. But I waited for Pantheon for like 30 minutes. My brother ended up waiting 3 hours for Pantheon while I was like running between Grover and Verbolten and eating and trying to figure out if one of them was going to open so I could ride Loch Ness. I need to ride that aerial looper, guys. But Verbolten actually did open next, so that was my 99th coaster. And this one opened in 2012. It's a Zier. Has an LSM launch, a vertical drop track, and an 88-foot drop where Big Bad Wolf was. So good. Theming is awesome. The ride is awesome. Reaches 73 miles per hour. Oh man, it's so good. I really love Verbolten. It's up here, guys. Verbolten. The question is, where does it rank amongst all these wooden coasters? I think ultimately it's better than Backlot. Like, it has a better launch than Backlot, and that drop and the drop track and the theming is all good. I really love that Wild Mouse, guys. Verbolten's at number 7. And then I got to ride Loch Ness Monsters, my 100th. As soon as we planned this trip and I figured I was going to hit my 100th at Williamsburg, I'm like, it has to be Loch Ness. It has to. So Loch Ness Monster opened in 1978. It actually opened like 8 days before Gemini. So Gemini was, Cedar Point was trying to make it the tallest coaster in the world, but Loch Ness opened like a week and a half before it. So this was the tallest coaster in the world when it opened, 130 feet tall. Although Gemini does have a longer drop by a couple of feet. But Loch Ness is most known for its 2 interlocking loops. 2 arrow loops that interlock. They're so pretty. And then it has a helix that is 2.75 rotations, I think. It's such a good helix. It's like my favorite parts of an arrow put together to make like this gorgeous coaster. That also goes over a river, it's through woods, and so good. So it's definitely a top 10 coaster. Sorry, Bat. I like it better than Mad Mouse or Magnum or Mystic 2, which is better. I think I still like Gemini best. I think it might. It's a little bit rough. Magnum's also a little bit rough. Sorry, Mags. Sorry, Mags. Really love Loch Ness. Loch Ness is like all my favorite arrow things put together into one really, really fantastic coaster. I love it so much. Oh. And then we rode Grover's Alpine Express after that. So Grover's Alpine Express is a kiddie coaster. It's 2009 by Zier. Um, it doesn't get very tall, 24 feet tall. Definitely down by other kiddie coasters. I do like Grover on the front. He has like the best expression on his face. Um, Better than Aerial Chase. A little dipper below Aerial Chase. That order. And then Grover, probably a little less exciting. Grover beats you out Ravine Flyer 3 just because it's Grover. And then, despite my brother waiting 3 hours to ride Pantheon, we didn't get to ride that. It didn't reopen. Should have rope dropped it and just waited in that giant line, but we didn't. So, did not get to ride Pantheon. So there are my rankings for my East Coast trip from Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, King's Dominion, and Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey. So I am going to do 3 more videos ranking the rest of my coasters for this year. Right now I'm at 88. Well, this is so good, guys. And so is Revolton. Like, really, really good coasters. But can they hold on to the top 10 spots? Actually, Revolton's hanging down there at the bottom. And Backlot. I'm so sorry, Matt. Voyage and Ravine Flyer 2. You guys are all really good, but things are about to get interesting as we head to Orlando. Alright. Thanks, guys, for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. And the photos I'm going to put in post. Yeah. Also, I have been posting my Instagram, also chekherjoy, where I do my roller coaster photos. So if you want to see more of my roller coaster photography, check that out, and that will also be down in the description. Alright, guys, peace out. I love you. Keep reading, keep riding roller coasters. Bye.